Welcome back, guys, to Monster Hunter World, and today we'll be talking about the mother goddess of gold herself, the Kulve Taroth. Now, I have done this fight a dozen times, and I have to say, in a unbiased opinion, this is a excellent execution. Some people may say it's kind of sloppy because it's like molasses. It's kind of slow, but it just depends on how much damage you're doing to her. But let's get right into this and let's talk about this fight. Now, in this fight of fighting Kulve Taroth, there are 4 phases. There is what I like to call the run phase and tactical planning phase, because throughout this phase, there's a lot of boulders you can knock down from the ceilings, and that will hit her on the head and it will get her stunned for a few seconds or a couple of seconds, so you can do enough damage on those horns. I can't fathom that enough. Some people go for the body, but you really want to focus on the horns as much as possible, because this is the main objective of this siege, is breaking her horns so she can retreat. Now, the whole aspect behind this was very clever, I have to say. They break down this siege mode into 4 sections. Like I said, the first section is the running phase. The second, third, and fourth are the fighting phases. Now, what I usually do on the first phase is, like I said, I knock down all 3 boulders. If not, I get 2 boulders down, and I have my team spam the fucking living shit out of her head, because it will do a lot of, it will save you a lot of time if you do this. During the second, and don't forget, this is a 60-man siege, so while the other groups are breaking parts, you will be rewarded just as well as they do. So it's like you want to have one team focus on the horns. Well, you technically don't need to do that, but when I usually run a group, I usually have them focus on the horn, and they do really well. And it's pretty, I mean, her combat on Kulve Taroth isn't the hardest to avoid. There is one that a lot of people do die from sometimes, and that is her fire spread AoE, which that can be kind of hectic. But if you complete and get her set, the Kulve Taroth set, it is a beautiful set. It has many skills, and it is just fantastic. And it has a lot of fire resistance. So it will help you more with this fight if you progress, if you want to do this over and over again to get more weapons from her, or you want to get, per se, the filthy fucking RNG gem that never drops for me. I mean, I will be thankful to get at least one, while some people have fought her a dozen times and have still not got a gem drop from her, while others have gotten 3 and 7, and those lucky bastards will say, well, I didn't really need it, but thanks anyways. Why don't you just give it to the people that need it, Capcom, or the completionists? But, it's whatever. I'm still gonna do this siege, and I'm gonna bust this out. Like I bust my nut, no. But pretty much, this fight was really enjoyable. It just gets kind of like, after so many kills off of her and trying to get a gem, it gets tiring after a while. But it's a new day, so I'm refreshed. I can do this again. Now in the second phase, what I like to do is what I usually do is I focus on these body platings right here. I focus right over here. And by the way, when she gets enraged, it's easier to do damage on her because she's in her molt phase. So her armor isn't going to be as strong as when she isn't molting. When she molts, she turns this reddish color and she gets really pissed off, and you're going to see a lot of fire breathing moves from her as well. Now, during the second phase, a lot of people can die through the second phase as well as the third and fourth. So what I usually like to do is, there's a specific move she does, and she will get up on her hind legs and she will just collapse. That is a perfect opportunity to strike her horns. Another perfect opportunity is during the 4th phase when she does her charge attack and she uses her tail at the very end. It gives you a good enough and brief moment to attack her horns. During the 3rd phase, that is a very crucial phase because there are 3 stalactites you can break down. The first stalactite is almost in the middle of the arena, and that is a great one to get because as soon as she gets hit by that stalactite, she is going to be stunned on the ground with her horns out for a good few seconds, and your party can do enough damage to either chip the gold plating off of her horns or chip the horns. I've gotten her full armor off on the 2nd phase, which is pretty weird. So when I fought her through the 3rd phase, she was actually in combat in the 3rd phase, because if you break her armor on the 3rd phase, she usually runs immediately to area 4. If not, she does one cheap shot and then she runs to area 4. But like I said, the main objective is to break these horns as soon as possible. Another crucial thing is that if it says she's leaving the locale soon, you can actually avoid this by having your team do enough damage, and it will say, I believe it says, I forgot what it's called, but it has something to do with stopping Kulve Taroth from retreating. So if you do that, like if you do enough damage, she will not leave the locale and she will advance on to the next area. As long as you do enough damage, she will not leave the locale. Usually there's level 1 through 6 for loot. So if you're on level, I believe 6 on loot, you should be fine on AoE, damage in total. So you, like I said, you want to focus on damage as much as possible. And right here, this is what the AoE attack I was talking about. A lot of people die on. So you got to be very careful on that. It's very noticeable to detect when she's going to do that. When she gets on her hind legs, she stands there for a split second, and then she'll proceed to breathe fire all over the ground. Now, there is another attack that is also good to avoid. It's kind of a counterattack per se, but what she likes to do is she likes to run in the opposite direction of you, leave her tail vulnerable, and then she'll turn around and just spray a line of fire, and that can either one-shot you or do a ton of damage. So you have to be wary on this fight, and you just have to be very careful. And now, in this fight, I was running my wide range perk, and I'm actually pretty stoked about the Kulve Taroth set because it does have wide range, so I'm not losing that ability because I do have 4 out of the 5 Kulve Taroth armor pieces. I just need the belt right now and I'll be all set, and that requires a gem, unfortunately. So I'm just like, man, I need that gem. I'm not saying I'm trying to be a Jew and I want everything. I mean, at this point we're gathering gold to the max right now. I mean, I could make so much profit just selling all these gold chips I get, and the fucking scales and all that good stuff. Even the horns too. I had like over that attack right there. That's the one you want to avoid. That is a big counterattack she does. Now, this is another phase you can do damage on her. When she rolls like that, it gives you a split second, but not enough time. See what I mean? She can do a lot of damage on that, so you have to be careful. And I was negative 15 on fire resistance. So, I mean, if I was fire resistance, what I'm using on my Kulve Taroth set, it wouldn't do that much hurting on me, but yeah. You see the stalactite right there? That you want to hit that stalactite, which I'm about to do, and you can see right there I do utilize it, and she is stunned for a few seconds. That's exactly what I was talking about. Use those stalactites to your advantage on the 3rd phase. There are 2 other stalactites on the opposite side of the map, to my left, I believe. Yeah, to my left. But the thing is, they're kind of close together. I don't know why they designed it like that, but yeah, that's just how they are. But Like I said, the gem drop is very rare for some people, like extremely rare. I fought in her, I think like 14 times right now, and I've only gotten one from a shiny drop, which I thought was pretty odd. You'd think you'd get it from her horns, or maybe just dropping her horn gold plating, but no. What's interesting is you get to see her true form, which she's a lot skinnier right here. It's like, wow, that's kind of weird, and she looks really cool. She kind of reminds me a little with the horns. She reminds me of Onyxia from World of Warcraft a bit, just a bit, I guess that was a horrible reference, but that's what I feel like she kind of looked like. It's like Onyxia or some fucking stupid shit. But by the way, these are all snippets I took out from each like encounter, because if I were to do it in one sitting, it'd be like an hour long, or like 40 minutes long, or 30. So I wanted to cut it down to like, you know, at least less than 20 minutes, of course. So another thing too is you want to gather all these droppings from her, because your loot leveling will go up higher. I believe it can go all the way up to 6, and the expedition leveling can go all the way up to 16, which the expedition leveling, what that does is it makes her HP kind of, I wouldn't say easier, but it gives you a better chance to break things off of her much easier, and you can get through the phases much faster if your expedition leveling is way up there. 16 for expedition leveling is the max. You obviously start off as 1. So usually I can beat Kulve Taroth on a leveling expedition. I've beaten her on a loot level of 3 to 6. I've never beat her on the first on the first expedition level. It's pretty tough doing that. So when I seen like videos from Apex, I had a feeling that he was still soloing, but he didn't get her on the first try. It was more of, hey, I got her at the last expedition leveling, and now I can solo her finally. And that's why I think he got her in like 12 minutes per se. Which honestly, Apex is a really good just speedrunner per se. He knows how to speedrun properly. So does Cancer Permi, which that one is notorious for just speedrunning, which is, it's amazing to see them both, you know, do such things. Now, see, you can see that I took out a little tidbit out of here, and I actually get the final blow on her, and I break her horns. I think we were on 2 deaths at this point, so it was really tough. See, I got the final blow, even though I think technically that guy that was flying up in the air with his greatsword and slammed on her face, I think he got it, but I don't give a shit. I feel like I got it. But the weapons, I want to talk about the weapons. The weapons are like reskins of older weapons in this game, like a Rathalos, Insect Glaive, or Glaive. And it just puts like a generic weapon skin with the gold plating on it, which I don't think necessarily it looks shitty. I think it looks good. It's more than decent, I can say. And some of them are actually better than the original weapons in the game. So, I mean, some are less powerful while others can be more powerful. So it varies. So you can junk some or sell them if you don't like them, or you can just keep them and use them like I do. I'm using the Taroth. I forgot what it's called, but it's called Rage, and it's basically a combination of a Kulve Taroth weapon with a Anjanath type look on it. It's got a lot of fire element damage, so it's really good. I think it's up in the 300s, and the raw damage is like almost 700. It's crazy, and I use that a lot during Kulve Taroth. So I mean, this fight wasn't too, you can see I'm teabagging. I don't know, I'm just like, yeah, I got the final blow. And then when I look back at the recording, I'm like, I don't know, maybe I did or didn't. But either way, this fight was fun to say the least. It's just the gem dropping gets it gets me pissed off per se, definitely. See, it took us 16 minutes with 4 people, while Apex took 12. And another thing too is you can get more rewards if you go to the quest made in the Gathering Hub. So go check her out and you will get more rewards. So anyways, thank you guys for watching, and until next time, I will see you guys later. Peace.